We know what it is like to want God's blessings for those around us. So this week, I want us to examine the prayers of the Apostle Paul for his newest believers. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Monday. After hearing from Ephesus about these new believers who had become a part of the New Testament church, Paul had some lofty desires and goals for their lives. He writes back in his epistle in Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 16, I do not cease to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give to you the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him, that the eyes of your understanding would be enlightened. First of all, we must commend Paul for his sincere and constant prayers for these new believers. He mentions this in the opening of several of his New Testament epistles. His greatest desire, first of all, for these believers is that God would give to each of them the spirit of wisdom concerning God himself. He even enumerates these attributes that he wants them to perceive fully. He begins by referencing God as the God of our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, there may have been some traditional Jews who believed in God, but were a little bit sketchy on who Jesus Christ was in the realm of their religious beliefs. Even Jesus told his followers in John chapter 14 and verse 1, you believe in God, believe also in me, for in my Father's house are many mansions. Now, knowing the troubling days that they were about to face, Jesus reminds them of the importance of trusting in him as the very Son of God in the flesh. So Paul reminds the church here that Jesus was not just a good teacher, not just a righteous man, but he was God in the flesh who came to save us from our sin. He also describes the God as the Father of glory, which reminds us that he deserves all glory and honor and praise from our lives and those who trust him. When we read of the Shekinah glory or the manifestation of God in the scriptures, we're always reminded his glory filled the Old Testament temple when it was dedicated to his presence. There was a thick, dark cloud that covered that place and filled that place to show the people that God was in their presence, that God had filled the temple and blessed it. God's Shekinah glory was manifest in that burning bush when he spoke to Moses in Exodus, calling him to lead his people from Egyptian bondage. So Paul says, I want you to see the God in all his glory through Jesus Christ. And I want you to have all knowledge through the revelation of him and all wisdom, which is how to apply knowledge of God in your daily lives. I want us to have a head knowledge as well as a heart knowledge of who God is and who he wants to be in your life. It was hard to reveal this from a distance, but Paul's prayer was that these believers would have the daily relationship with God through Jesus Christ that he had enjoyed since coming to believe. I hope today that's our desire and our prayer for our life as well as other believers for that matter, that we know and that others would know God in all his glory and have that personal relationship with him.